Over 3 million followers. Today's guests, hailing from GC no less, entertain over 3 million subscribers on our favorite addictive platforms, TikTok and Instagram. Creating content that has become an incredible life-changing experience and now career, Kelly Manno and Jeff Hayes break down what got them into the world of making mini movies, the relationships they've developed, the relationships they've lost, and some words of advice for anyone looking to do more with their iPhone 16s that isn't simply a fetish on OnlyFans. Links to their pages are in the show notes, and be sure to subscribe to this show as well to help keep these conversations coming. Let's go. All right, we're here. Tell me you're joking. Got another episode. Today we're actually going to be talking about joking, the life of chaos, creativity, communists, Gen Xers, all of it. We're going to throw it all out there today. Thanks for joining me, you two.
Sure. Happy to be here.
Yeah, especially on a pretty day like this.
Kelly and Jeff from the GC. You know, it's funny. This will be episode, I believe, number 11. And I didn't enter into the show thinking this was going to be like, I'm going to use my hometown as kind of like the beta.
Yeah.
But it's kind of turning out that way.
Yeah.
Because apparently we got a lot of people that do a lot of interesting stuff, from catching bad guys and dealing with dead bodies. You know, Mr. Novasic is
I saw that.
to you two, kind of, cutting your chops, making your bread, so to speak, in the world of media, social media. People have already read the title, so they know that we're going to be talking about TikTok a lot in particular. I just want to put a pin in the map here first. Let's get a little bit of background, and then we'll get into the details. Kelly, you first. You know, I've obviously alluded to the fact that you are a GCer as well.
Yep. I'm from Granite City, class of 96. I have known Jeff since Little Lamb Preschool. Little Lamb Preschool.
On Wabash.
We went
my God, that was the one at the end of my block.
Yeah, we went to preschool together, and then junior high, high school, always stayed friends, and both somehow ended up on TikTok as grown-ups, and yeah, that's my background.
I think I have that typical Gen X type of introduction to TikTok, how I ended up on it too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's really kind of part of what I want to figure out here today, because I've been around social media, for a solid 15 years, just from a personal standpoint, just kind of being on Facebook initially. And then as Gaslight Studio over on the Hill, as we developed and grew that, we saw obviously the shifting tides as far as like where content is consumed, especially from a music perspective. It's not like people are running to the record stores anymore. There's no CDs are dead, except in my garage in large stacks.
Yeah.
So social media is one of those things that I've realized real quickly, like, this is new. There's always new shit, but this was like, okay, we got to figure this out. And then since then we've seen kind of the explosion of, Meta expanding into Instagram, and then you had, Twitter being sold off to Elon, and now X, and the chaos that is. And then here came this new platform that nobody knew where it was from. Nobody knew anything about it, and that being TikTok. And it is the fastest growing still today, as of this recording, kind of social media platform in the world.
Yeah.
So my question to the two of you, to kind of get this thing going, let's go to the early days of your own social presence or utilization, so to speak. Mm-hmm. What got you into social media? Was it just kind of generic, along the lines of most everyday Americans? And then talk about the initial posting, if you can recall, what you started to do when you were on social media the first time.
Yeah, I think my introduction is a little shorter. She's the business savvy one. I'm just like the typical dad that hopped on during COVID. Actually, the way that came up for us is my ex-wife and I, we have 3 kids, and this was 4 years ago that I hopped on, and it was during COVID, and she's saying, hey, the kids have no social life. We were trying to keep them from social media as long as possible, but she thought, let's introduce them to TikTok. and see how they handle it, and you can kind of monitor it. And initially I didn't want to monitor it, but I was off with the kids, so I said, I'll take that on and follow their accounts. So you find so many people, their account says like, I came here during COVID and stayed. I was that dad who I was monitoring their stuff, and they wanted to post videos, and I was kind of helping out a little bit. And then one day I just sat down with some friends at a barbecue, the first time I had a social day out with adults. And one of the guys that was there kind of showed me how to do it. So I was like, okay. And then the next thing I know.
When you say do it, you mean like shoot a short
Just
reel, shoot a little video,
Yeah,
put some copy on it, whatever.
Yep. And we were kind of messing around. So if you look back at my first ones, they're as cheesy as they get. And they just got cringier from there.
I saw them.
So
they were cringy.
Yeah. And
I'll give you that.
They still are. My kids tell me that all the time. But I got on to monitor my kids. And then one time I asked my kids to do a dance with me. And then they just kind of took off. And while I was, quarantined with my kids, that became my social life. And from there, I've met tons of people. And I know Kelly was already on there, and I did a duet with her, and it just kind of exploded for me, meeting people all over the country that I still stay in contact with now. One of my very best friends is my art teacher. That's her handle on TikTok. She's an art teacher in New Jersey, and I talk to her every single day still. So
it's crazy the friendships that you make.
So let's go to your kind of early iteration. Because again, social media for the most part for us, because you're a parent as well. How many kids do you have?
3.
3 as well. I have 3. You have 3?
Yep.
Damn.
It's that sweet spot.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like you have one and you're like, nah, I think I want another. And you have 2 and you're like, can't be that. Can't end on that one.
Yeah.
And then you have a third.
And it's a circus.
And then you're like, maybe I'm the one with the problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've always been an oversharer, like from kindergarten. I was the kid who would go and tell my teacher everything going on in my life and my parents' life. And I've always been a storyteller. And so growing up, my first job, I always knew I wanted to be in radio. So my first job was with Stephen DC. They were a St. Louis morning show.
Sure.
And on that show, I would tell stories. I would talk about what I was doing, who I was dating. And when that was done, I was a photographer. And whether I was shooting weddings or families, I was telling a story through the camera. I started like a mommy blog that was real popular for a while. Again, telling stories.
Give me a time frame on that, just so we can kind of walk through the calendar a little bit.
Mommy blog was around 2006.
Did you call it Mommy Blog?
No, it was called Keeping Up with Kelly Manno. And I named that before the Kardashians named their shit that, just for the record.
Yeah,
I'm remembering that now.
Yes, it was called Keeping Up with Kelly Manno, and I would just blog about my life. Again, I'm an oversharer, like by nature. And people just kind of gravitated to that because I wasn't making everything pretty. I was telling everybody what it's really like to be a mom and how.
So you were the GC version of Martha Stewart.
I guess so. I wouldn't compare myself
the
to
crude
Martha.
GC
Yeah,
version.
like let's shoot this shit straight.
Maybe like the white trash Martha Stewart.
Yeah, there you go.
Something like that.
We all know her.
Yeah, and then Facebook came about. And in between those was MySpace. That blew my mind. The first time that I ever saw MySpace, and I saw kids that I grew up with in Granite City that I didn't even think owned a computer, and they had like entire MySpace pages, and you could see what they were doing, and I was fascinated by it.
Yeah.
And then that kind of morphed into Facebook. And again, I'm just an oversharer and storyteller. So I've always just been sharing my life, and people gravitated towards it. And whether it was something funny my kids did or whatever, I always just kind of had an audience at like whatever platform I went to.
So I'm going to jump a little bit, not to the end here, but just to kind of put some data and metrics out there so the listener can kind of understand, what we're about to talk about and what it's resulted in. Kelly, currently on TikTok, you've got 2.8 million followers.
Yep.
On Instagram, you're at 680,000. I know, Jeff, we talked the other day. You know your numbers offhand?
110,000
on TikTok?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's a massive number too when you look at the percentage of people that are on these platforms and how many exceed that that 100K mark.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small number of people.
I always think of it as like Busch Stadium. So like Jeff's got to remember every time he does a video, it's like 3 full Busch stadiums watching what he does.
Yeah. It's so funny because I have a good friend of mine who's actually an immigration attorney, and his YouTube page, which YouTube is a completely different beast.
Yep.
He finally surpassed 100,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel.
So did he get the plaque?
I guess it's in the mail.
Yep.
But he used that exact analogy. He's like, whenever I started my page, I had 5 people, which felt like a small office, and then I had 30 people, which felt like a small conference room, and boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And he's like, next up, the Rose Bowl is kind of how he put it out there, and that's a really great way to do it, because I talk to people about podcasting, which is something that I've really leaned into. I have clients that are doing it, and they're always wondering, well, what if there's only 20 people listening? I'm like, well, how important would it be for you to get 20 people in a room that you can have a one-on-one with? And it's just the way you look at it. So from a content standpoint, to entertain, that's different though.
Right.
Because what I'm talking about is kind of the white collar social media customer via LinkedIn or even Facebook and Insta, where they just want to sell more of their widgets. What you guys have done, and we'll get to the selling part in a little bit. What you've done is, like, you did it to entertain. You did it to be social. So I want to kind of get into your mind a little bit about those early days, COVID years for you particular, Jeff. And Kelly, it sounds as if you were kind of an open book from the get-go. We talk about kids and their addiction / reliance to social media, and that endorphin rush that they get when they see those likes clicking and and the engagement going up. How do you view that endorphin rush, or did view it, when you would get 50 likes the first time, and then, oh my God, we got 100 on this one, and then maybe a video hit 1,000 views, and you're like, holy fuck, 1,000 views. What were your emotions like in the early days as you saw these numbers grow?
If I can be completely honest, I never cared. And I know that some people may not believe that. Now maybe my first couple of TikTok videos when my kids were like, oh my God, Mom, you went viral for falling down the stairs. Sure, that was exciting. But beyond that, I think that the part of the reason that I've been so successful is because I make my content for me, for what I want to do and what I want to talk about. And the minute you start stressing, like, oh God, that video flopped, or oh God, I'm getting canceled, or oh God, like now I'm not funny anymore. Like, I have always just made content that I liked, and I've really never cared about the numbers. I can tell you right now that if I still was at 2,000 followers, I'd probably still be doing the same thing, because I love it and it's fun. And if I can make 2,000 people laugh or 2 million people laugh, it's all the same in my book. I just like making people laugh. So
yeah, I get it. I mean,
but I don't care about the numbers. There's no dopamine,
Well, yeah, I think there's a common thread in individuals, because over on another podcast I work on called Baked In with Josh Allen. Josh is the owner of Companion Bakery. He's got an incredible Rolodex of guests that have come in. They're all like business leaders, including Andy Cohen, who probably stole your idea there on the Kardashian side. Yeah. But there was a common denominator amongst a lot of them, in so much that one of the metrics they never talk about is really kind of numbers. They don't get sucked in by metrics like that. They get sucked in by customer experience. They get sucked in by the joy of it.
It's fun.
So Jeff, you're hanging out with your kids in COVID. You got no human interaction. All of a sudden, you start to see those numbers moving. What did it mean to you? Because the kids get in on it too. When they see, oh damn, Dad or Mom, what's going on? What was your kind of take on at that time?
It's funny that you say that, because my kids would call it cringy, but if I showcased them in one of my videos, or I just had another one that took off, and by their measure, 10,000 views, that's kind of what I think is a good one for me. Is if I have one hit 10,000 views, I'm like, wow, that's impressive. For me, I'm also on a much smaller scale, and like Kelly, I didn't really care about the numbers, and that was part of the fun in it for me. So I think if you do get wrapped up in that, you're just going to stress out, and there's no reason to stress out.
Yeah, because these numbers move quick.
Yeah, and you could never figure them out. Like I've had so many conversations with people that do this, and you have a good video, and it does nothing. But then you have one you put together in 7 seconds, and it's the stupidest thing you've done, and all of a sudden it's got 100,000 views. I've had plenty of those. It's usually the ones that I give no thought to are the ones that take off. So.
Isn't that funny though? Like as creatives, because I've been around a lot of musicians in particular, and they walk into the studio or they send you some demos and they're like, oh, I got this one song. I got this great hit. Here's my 5-song EP. And I'm like, I really like song 5, and that's the one that breaks. I mean, Kelly, for you, when you do, cause you've been consistent, putting out content, Is it really just the joy and the thrill of making the content and having fun?
Yeah.
But when you zoom out and you look at what you have done and the ones that have resonated, does it shock you? Do you think that the public got it right?
It always surprises me. I mean, sometimes I've got an idea, but sometimes my meter is way off. I mean, I'll make these videos where I am doing different characters and costumes, and I'm editing all of this stuff, and I'll put it out there, and it won't do that great. And then like I drew a dick in the snow, and it got 20 million views, and it's just like,
what does that really say about us as a people?
a lot. But
do we want to figure that out though? I mean, like there's certain things that need to remain in the box, right?
And it might say something about the app that there are a lot of people that go there not for anything serious. They're just there to kind of unwind and watch something stupid.
And that's been the success of it. You know, Jeff talks about his kids thinking he's cringy. That's authentic. We are adults. We are cringy to kids. So if you're trying to be something you're not going to be authentic, and people are not going to gravitate towards you. And I think that Jeff and I both share in that our kids are both really proud and really horrified of their parents' success on TikTok. But again, we're not trying to act like young, cool kids. We're being cringy parents. And it's authentic, and people gravitate.
Well, so the authentic part of it, as you guys are at the very tail end of the Gen X window, you're kind of sitting on the ledge.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what group you go out to have drinks with, you could be millennials as well.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
You're on the
I
fence.
have people trying to like look up my birthday.
I know.
Like, people made conspiracy videos that I'm not Gen X, and
No, I know. Well, anybody, honestly, kids that are born today in that town are technically Gen X too. I mean, that's just part of the lifestyle of
that's our town.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Of the culture, you know, because I think Gen X in particular is just really one of those things. Like when I view myself as Gen X, like when people ask me, how do you define it? I'm like, look, you know, we rode in cars that had lap belts for 3 people. You know, parents were smoking in the car.
I can remember standing up in a car.
No cell phones.
Yeah.
None of that. But we also are at the tip. You know, we've seen all the firsts. We saw the first cell phone. We saw, you know, cable television. We engage it, and I guess that's really where I was going with this. The question, you know, when you think of social media, most people view social media as a kid's game, as a kid's platform. How do you view it? Where do you view social media as it pertains to generational groups? Is it you know, is it neutral for everybody? It's just everybody has their own taste, or do you see it as truly compartmentalized? For Gen Xers versus Zers versus teens, you know, where do you
it's
view
definitely like, I know kids would say you need to get off that app. It's for kids. But if you look at my analytics, it's going to show you that the majority of the people that follow me or engage with my content is probably like 35 to 55. And I'm right in the middle of that. So I think it's, you know, relevant to everybody.
Yeah. What's your demo look like? You know, when you get into 2.8 million is a big number.
Yeah, she might have a little bit different.
What's your median?
I have a really broad demo. I'm so lucky that I've got like a lot of kid followers that are like teenagers that you know my kids went to school with. But I mean, right now it's mainly like the Gen X audience. But it's not one thing or another. I haven't always just done Gen X content. I've always branched out, done other things. I'm gonna keep branching out. I'm not just gonna make Gen X jokes for the next 10 years. And so my demo is really broad, and it's from, you know, the 20-year-olds to like the 60-year-olds.
So when you think of content, you know, you've made your bread on Gen X content for the most part. Like that's what's really the ones that have resonated. You figured out the Rubicon when it came to that type of content. But what's your favorite kind of content to make though? Is it the X videos kind of self-deprecating? Is it just dance? Is it, you know, are you consciously creating things to, like, I really want to hammer those, you know, those Swifties right now, or other? Like, what's your favorite to make?
I like it all. I'm just always changing. It seems like now, like the Gen X content creation is like the hot button, and now everybody's doing it. So I'm already looking to kind of branch out and move on. Like I don't want to do what everyone else is always doing. I always want to be like one step ahead and moving forward. So I love content where I get to like write a script and play characters. That's probably one of my favorite things to do.
Okay. Part B then is I'm going to follow up on part of your answer there. You write a script. A lot of people think that social media influencers are just walking around with their cell phones or maybe a video buddy, and
Of course they do.
shooting it on the fly, and they're just always so funny. But talk a little bit about the process.
Oh, it's very strategic. It's so strategic. Like, people don't see behind the scenes, like Jeff said, like monitoring your analytics and your algorithms and trying to figure out what's changed and what platforms are moving and what platforms aren't. And the platforms try to trick you, right? So if you want to make money in this, TikTok, you have to be over a minute to make money. But on, Instagram, you can't go above a minute 30. So you got to find a video that ends at like a minute 15 if you want it to perform on both platforms. Otherwise, you're re-editing stuff. And so people don't understand how much focus and thought goes into being strategic and making content that people want to absorb. It's very strategic. And again, this is the greatest job ever. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my God, this job is so hard. But it's the regular person could not do it. No way.
This open to either of you. Talk about the whiteboard process, though, along the lines of creating content, because obviously thought is going into it. You're targeting demos at times. You're trying to just do some fun stuff. You're trying to be...
Jeff targets the single ladies. He's got the middle-aged women on TikTok in the palm of his hand.
So apparently there's a few of them.
Yeah,
at
least 100,000 that I know of.
What's the Top Gun reference? It's target rich environment, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you got a girlfriend once, right? And
I did.
lost a bunch of followers.
I did. I posted that I was with a girl because I guess the way I kind of took off with is I came across Shell writes romance. She's a romance novelist, and she always does these thirst traps of guys and all the good-looking guys that are transitioning and they take their shirt off and they look fantastic. I kind of came in hearing women complain on this app about men's lack of effort and that kind of stuff, and I just came in and made this video where I acted like I was the perfect boyfriend talking to the camera, and she picked that up, and then all of a sudden duetted it, and my numbers took off. And of my 110,000 followers, over 90% are women, and that's kind of where all of my stuff came from. So, as far as the effort that I put into it and the whiteboard that I put into it, I'm literally just watching people come across my page. I know that if I do like a Good Morning Honey video is kind of what they became known as, or a dance, those are going to do well. I follow women and kind of do the dad version of what they do, and that's the extent of my whiteboard. So, again, I've got some good numbers. You compare it to Kelly, and Kelly does phenomenal. I definitely have a lot more followers than I ever thought I would have had, but there's not a lot of thought that goes into mine other than dancing or doing something stupid.
So it feels like you kind of know your niche.
Yeah.
And you tend to react off of, what the market is telling you.
Yeah.
You can just simply scroll within your world of algo.
Yep.
Right. And you're creating content accordingly. Sounds to me, Kelly, that you might do a little bit of that, but are you sitting on the couch at night with a little chalkboard or note, pen and paper and jotting down ideas? Like, what's that process look like for you?
So I always look at like my niche as like an umbrella. So if you have like an umbrella, it will, like, real quick, Jeff's point about like the ladies, like, your audience wants you to be predictable. They want to log on and see him dancing and talking about being a good boyfriend. Like, they want to see me dancing to Vanilla Ice, or like your audience wants to sit down and relax and know what's coming. And so I have sort of a niche umbrella over me where I think of like the 5 things that I always make content about is either Gen X, parenting, comedy, rap music, or dance. So if you go to my page, you're going to open any video and one of those 5, it's going to be comedy, dance, rap music, just the things that I love. So people come and they know what they're going to get. If I went and made a video tomorrow about gardening, like, my whole audience would be like, what the hell? First of all, the algorithm would never pick it up. The algorithm would tank it because it's not predictable to them.
Well, but if you did a parody of iced tea gardening, that
Well, then that's comedy and rap. So that's in my niche. So so you have to know, I mean, if you want to be successful, if you're just doing this for fun, but if you want to be successful, you have to know your niche and your audience, and it has to be things you genuinely like.
So I read an article a little while back. I was doing some research for another client about, okay, where are buyers in social media? And what it did, and it was really smart, it kind of simplified it, say, hey, look, first, let's figure out who's got money, and they went through age groups and demos and, households, et cetera. And lo and behold, Gen Xers are the fastest growing group of wealth, quote, wealth, or average income is higher. Because we're getting older, right? We're becoming more and more of the bosses. We don't have as many bosses above us. So for you guys, creating content, leaning in, that's speaking to a wealthier demo as time goes by, is that an advantage? Because obviously you're monetizing now, and you're creating content that's drawing in what the market is saying. This is the new baby boomer group, right? That is starting to accumulate everything. Do you ever think about that, knowing that your viewers, your core viewers, are kind of what buyers want or sellers want, like product partners, et cetera?
Yeah, like I'm on a stand-up tour right now, and it's sponsored by AARP, which is hilarious.
Oh my God.
But that is where, that is where all of the money in advertising is going to social media. So
now, you didn't sign a non-disparagement, right? You can make fun of AARP, the sponsors of the comedy tour. Okay,
they're
good.
Actually a really great company. But anyway, you can, see, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I mean...
Oh, I know.
we had to keep that straight there.
Squirrel. So in the world, nobody wants to hear this, but advertising and radio and TV is dying a slow and painful death right now.
Right.
Because nobody is listening to radio for ads. Nobody is watching TV. Where do you want your ads to be? Right here on your phone. Right. They want their ad where you're scrolling. So I have companies that'll pay me just to put their ad after one of my videos because they want that pop-up. And so companies who are not shifting to social media influencing for their marketing and advertising are gonna be extinct. They're not gonna do well. The companies that are picking up on it and leaning into it, like AARP, they've had their magazine for so long. Well, now they're in social media, so they're doing the right thing. But companies who are not doing it are going to, it's not going to look good for them.
Or anybody with Peyton Manning, they're doing well too.
Absolutely.
Like I think of Peyton Manning a lot whenever I do see your posts, et cetera. And he's probably my favorite ex-athlete or even current athlete, really, that has made that conversion over into advertising and media, et cetera. And the reason is, for me, I think he is the best at self-deprecation. Mm-hmm.
He is. He's funny.
His ability to just make fun of himself and create value in whatever he's touching is incredible. And I think, Kelly, you in particular, I mean, Jeff, you do it too, but falling downstairs and body types and all this stuff that you do. Do you realize that you're being self-deprecating? I mean, do you consciously think about, the aspect or the part of your content in which you're making fun of yourself at times? And is it hard to do that, or is it just like, look, I don't give a shit. This is what I'm going to do because I'm fine with what I'm doing? I do
for sure, because I know that nobody really wants to see me like go on there and think that I'm killing it when I'm
take
dancing.
Yourself seriously.
Yeah, so that's some of my dances too. I love doing the dancing, but sometimes it gets really complicated, and I've got I can do 7 seconds, and then it's just.
I mean, I got to laugh just hearing you say that, man.
Well, I see my daughter learn these dances for her dance team, and she just picks it up like that, like a 2-minute routine. I can't do that, so I will take like half the dance and then throw in. It's actually a soda bottle, and it looks like it's a beer bottle, but somebody throw it in the middle of it, and that's kind of where I end my dance. So, I think that's the fun part of it, is kind of making fun of yourself.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question, then we're going to take a quick break and do a little reset here. Have you ever made a video or a piece in which you knew you were being self-deprecating, you watched it, and you're like a tinge embarrassed, or like, man, I don't know if I want to put that out there? Has that happened?
I've got some drafts that I held on to. I knew it was better than just post them. And then after a while, I just get rid of them for sure.
I mean, I've always kind of put my crazy on the front porch, like for everybody to see. I've never hid it. Like there's, it's authentic for me to make fun of myself. I'm not doing it to entertain other people. I do it in my own household. I think being self-deprecating is part of being authentic. anyone on that app that takes themselves too seriously is never going to survive.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about more self-deprecation and dances, and I don't know.
I've got a dance plan for you.
Oh, dude. I've got a camera.
I want to see it.
I got a camera ready to go. If you're listening to this on Spotify, jump over to YouTube. Jeff's going to dance. See, we'll be right back.
There we go.
Bingo.
See, first time in the studio.
Good job.
All right, we're
That
back.
feels better.
We're back. We fixed some headphones, and we were talking about self-deprecation and making the content, and it sounds as if maybe even at this point you guys you're just totally good with it. Is what it sounds like. Like it don't matter because the other reality of content in general, whether it's a law firm trying to get a mesothelioma client or an entertainer, doing a Vanilla Ice dance, we're talking about minute and a half, right? It's scroll. People are moving so fast through their phones. How do you view kind of the throwaway nature of content? And I get that it stays on your page and it's out there, you have it, but the rapid rate at which all of us go through our phone and all that content, how do you view kind of those that are like just short-term lovers versus your goal of trying to create loyal followers? Because obviously at 2.8 million, you're doing something right. People are there, they're returning. Do you think about your content as a mass, or do you view it all as these just snippets of time that are just intended to be fun?
I'm looking at it as like a career, like a lifelong career. Like if I'm a baseball player and you go up to the plate, sometimes you're going to strike out, sometimes you're going to hit a home run, sometimes you're going to get a base hit, and it all comes together. And you got to look at your batting average. So if somebody watches my stuff and it's disposable and they don't like it, then I'm not for them. I don't care.
Right.
I don't give a crap, because there are people out there who will see my stuff and digest it and keep it with them and go back and look at it and save it in their favorites when they're having a bad day and they want to laugh.
So we were just talking off mic on the break, kind of alluding maybe to these individuals that you're describing right now, as well as those that are within your inner circle, because there is a certain amount of stigma that comes along with anybody on social media that puts anything out. On a micro level, I get it. If I make a post about just my opinion, whether it's political or soccer or what, it doesn't matter. I know that it's as much as there's kind of visible support for it, and even PMs, or in DMs saying, hey man, I really like this. I can't say anything publicly. I also know that there are people that are like stupid, self-aggrandizing, and the haters.
Yep.
Haters was the word that we were talking about.
Yeah.
I have never met a hater doing better than me. So, they can hate all they want, but until they're above me, I'm not listening to them.
Well, but talk about, like, if you had to describe your particular hater, right? Because your haters are going to be different than your haters. Maybe they're coming at it from roughly the same way, but they're different.
Oh.
What given you are an individual that's just out there making fun content and you're dancing and you Vanilla Ice songs and all this other stuff, it's like, describe who that hater is.
It's people in your real life. Okay. It's not, strangers on the internet are not the ones hating on you, or they might be. It's people in your real life.
Oh, I know.
That make fun of you. That's who it is. It's not, when COVID started and I started on TikTok and I was making all these people laugh because Facebook was miserable. It was a fucking dumpster fire. Everybody was on there was fighting, and Facebook was making me hate people I loved, and TikTok was making me fall in love with total strangers. And I stupidly thought, if I'm making all these people laugh on TikTok, I bet I could do it on Facebook. And I started posting a couple of my videos on Facebook, and oh my God, they went over like a lead balloon. I wasn't taking COVID seriously. This and that. And then the big thing is one of my really good friends at some point posted this meme that said, look, things may not be going well in my life right now, but at least I'm not a grown up on TikTok. And he knew I'd see that. And it wasn't just him. It was all the people that posted underneath that were like, oh my God, somebody finally said it, and shit like that. And, 5 years later, I'm like, how's your day job? How's your 9 to 5? Because the people who took a risk.
Why? Well, let me just ask both of you guys, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Why do you think they do it?
Jealous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just
no. I got my obvious theories too, but I want to hear it. I want listeners to hear it because I mean, there are a lot of people that listen to shows like this too that do those things and just don't think about it.
They are jealous of our ability to be ourselves and be confident in who we are. They're not jealous of us because we're skinny or hot or rich, or they are jealous that they don't have the confidence to put themselves out there.
because I really think that if they saw somebody in California doing stuff like that, they wouldn't think, they'd probably like it and,
Yep.
and then scroll on, or maybe
Yep.
not even say anything, but because it's so close to them, they can kind of relate to that person, and it just gets under their skin for whatever reason.
Okay, so now you've been doing this for 5+ years, realistically, when it really took off, it's been over the past 5 years. Do you see, well, let me ask two questions. Have those people been purged? 1, 2, if they have not, do you see the hatred dissipating?
I pay no attention to it, honestly. Yeah, there was a girl from high school that, she always wanted to be famous and be an actress. And so when COVID started and I was having all of this success on TikTok, I thought, oh my God, I need to tell her about this because she would love it. And so I text her, I'm like, hey, there's this new app called TikTok and I know you're really creative and here's some funny stuff that I've been doing. You should totally get on this app and do this.
Come do it with me.
And she wrote me back and said, oh my God, I heard you were on TikTok, but I didn't think it was serious. You have too much time on your hands. And I've never talked to her since. And that was me genuinely reaching out thinking I can make her happy if I show her how fun this is. And people were just assholes. And so, yes, absolutely, they're purged. 100%.
Yeah, she's one. I know who you're talking about. We haven't even had this conversation because I can remember seeing a post on Facebook.
Hey,
that
Jeff,
she
keep
made.
the mic a little closer if you don't mind.
Yeah.
You can tilt it up.
I remember specifically seeing her make that post, and I knew exactly who she was talking about when she did it too. So
Bye, bitch.
yeah, I've done,
Bye, bitch.
There we go.
I've done some purging.
Are you
too
from West
myself.
Granite? What part? Which tracks are you nearest to? Let's put it that way.
Here's the thing. I'm not hurting for friends. I got plenty of friends. So if you don't want to be my friend, go.
Do you view followers as placebos as friends? Are they actual friends?
Some are. Like Jeff said, we've gotten to know some people that you talk to every day.
Yeah.
And they're like in your real life. It's so funny. My agent, I talk to him every day more than anyone on the planet. I have never met him in real life. So these people, and these are the people who supported us. Like he said, like my art teacher and stuff. When the rest of your real life people were acting like complete assholes, you had strangers on the internet hyping you up, and you remember those people and you stick with them. And so, yeah, I've got plenty of real life friends on the internet.
So then let me ask how that affects, or maybe from a parenting standpoint, your kids who are watching this in real time, because pre TikTok and everything else, they knew that they knew who your friends were, they knew who you went to school with, probably had kids that you guys maybe played with at different times, and then inevitably they're gonna know, they know what happens. How do they view what's happening to mom and dad? When it comes to the effect of the fandom, the effect of the followers, and these real life kind of fallouts. Are they aware of it? Do they care, or do they just like, oh, that's dumb?
Mine are aware, and they make fun of me for it because they get into my comment section and they see these women, especially during COVID. It was like everybody was locked in, and the women just were so thirsty on there. And I've been on dating apps, and the women are like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you. Great, fantastic."
You should run all those comments through AI and print a book.
Oh,
man.
right.
There you go.
Some of them have
An audio book.
Some of them had me blushing, and honestly, I work in education, so I think that kind of, when you work in a high school like I do, you're kind of known throughout the town, not in a popular way or anything, but you're familiar with a lot of people. So it was like they'd make some comments, and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, everybody in town's going to know about this," and my kids would make fun of me for it, and they still do.
Because for so long, when you were on TikTok in the early days, nobody you knew in real life followed you. It was like this secret world. Because TikTok was so big that even if somebody you knew got on TikTok, the chances of them finding your account were slim to none. And so I remember thinking, this is so great. I can be myself. Nobody's judging me. And then I see that Jeff's on there, my friend from high school. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Because if there's anybody I would want to find on there, it'd be someone like Jeff, who's always been my friend. And we've always hyped each other up. And it was like, yes, let's do this together.
Well, your account is Kelly Manno. It's really easy to find Kelly Manno. You just type
Yeah,
in Kelly
had I
Manno.
known I was going to get 2.8 million followers, I would have never used my whole name, by the way.
What's your handle?
Hazer220. Hazer.
Hazer.
Yeah, childhood nickname. My buddies used to call me Hazer.
And what's the 220?
Birthday coming up.
Oh, okay, I see.
Creative, right?
Yeah, there you go. Now you got 110.2 plus 1. So I couldn't find it, dude.
Really?
But to your point, what you're
You
talking.
can't search by their name. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
it's,
I know. My daughter would go on there, and she would just go into her friends' accounts and block them for me. So I didn't have like a lot of the younger kids following me. She was just mortified by it. But
Yep.
yeah, I know that there's people that every once in a while, even if they're in my contacts, they pop up, and I'll look back and realize that they've been posting for a couple years, and I had never seen them before.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I understand, being near creative content, I knew that I needed the pages, but I had no idea how to utilize or activate or what I even wanted to put out there, because I did understand that if you have a page, I should say, there's two types of people on social media. There are people that have accounts; those are scrollers.
Yeah.
And then there are people that have pages that are creators, right? And the vast majority of people are account holders. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a whole other different tangent. I want to talk about the content itself, and we alluded to kind of the copy. You got to prepare, because there's time frames, and you got to work within the time frames to help maximize the algorithm. And you don't want to make duplicate or triplicate reels to fit each individual platform. But talk a little bit about the post-production process for you, Kelly, in particular.
Yeah.
Are you shooting with just a cell phone? Do you have a couple cameras? Are you going into Premiere Pro after? Or are you just doing it all on your cell phone? Because there's a lot of activity that's going on in your videos in particular. What's the post-production process look like?
I shoot everything in my phone. I have two phones. I've got a regular phone and a content phone. Just because I shoot so much, it would just fill up my phone.
Yeah.
So I shoot on an iPhone, and I edit on this app called Video Leap that costs like $3 like a couple of years ago. And I know there's better editing software out there, but I don't want to relearn anything because I'm old. Like, I know how to work Video
You're
Leaps.
an Xer.
That's what I use. Yeah, and people are always like searching for the new greatest, latest thing. But editing is everything. Editing is the icing that you decorate your cake with, and it is so important. And I am most locked in and critical of myself when I'm editing and making sure that every second is perfect and that things are cut off in the right places. And did I get everyone's attention quickly? And how do I keep their attention?
Well,
editing is everything.
Yeah, I was going to ask because I obviously, from an audio perspective, what I'm really impressed with your posts by is really the timing. Because when you sync up the music, you understand the down, the hit, right? And the transitions are there, et cetera.
Yep.
And that's not, people watch videos and they just subconsciously think, well, that's how it's supposed to be.
They don't realize that all of that was constructed on purpose.
Yeah.
It was all by design, and knowing how to work the music and putting important parts and important parts of the song and then a build up and a crescendo, there's so much more to it than people would ever know.
It's funny when you say that because we've been on a couple trips together. She did a skydiving event when you hit 1 million, right?
Yep.
We went to see Vanilla Ice, rented an RV, picked me up, and then we literally
Drove across the country.
Drove across the country, picking other people up, totally going out of the way.
I got an RV for you.
So
I got one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, we can take another trip.
Right.
It's a 90s one too.
Oh, that's like the old school.
Oh yeah.
But when we were doing this, and I'm sitting in the house with creators that have some big numbers in her, I see all the effort and the thought that goes into some of this stuff. I'm still the guy that just holds my phone and kind of walks through my house. I know I used to have they've got the stands that you could put your phone on or whatever, and I used to have
like a cardboard box or something.
It was a laundry basket,
Yes.
and then depending on the angle I needed, I had several thick books that I'd set up and prop it, and then I can remember my art teacher coming. She's like, "This is how
one
you
ply
do it."
towel, two ply towel. I just need
Exactly. That's how
I'm
I
like,
would do it.
Jeff, get a damn tripod and a ring light for God's sakes. You've got 100,000 followers.
I never did, but somebody bought one for me, and then my sister actually bought me one of those ring lights.
Perfect.
3 days later,
job,
that
Heather.
was in my daughter's room.
Yeah.
She wanted it, so I'm that basic guy, just walking with the phone. in hand.
Well, but there's so many accounts out there. I tend to get sucked into pop culture, politics, the ones that where people are just like taking a news bite and they're giving an analysis. I mean, they're just shooting that in like selfie mode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. And then they just in the app's editing, they add the picture, whatever, and that's it. And next thing you know, they got 5 million followers.
Yeah.
Right.
And like what Jeff does on TikTok with just holding his camera, that's totally acceptable. Like TikTok is so forgivable in that nothing has to be perfect. It doesn't have to look polished. There's room for everyone.
So I want to get your guys' opinion on this, and I have a feeling we're probably all going to be on the same page. But part of the process that I take with clients through the consulting process on content, just big C content, not specific C content, is consistency. Just trying to convince them that whether you like all of your shit or not, put it out. Be consistent. Talk a little bit about your view of the work, specifically how the consistency in putting content out there. How often are each of you making videos, or resharing? Talk about the consistency.
I don't get paid for this, and I've gone through spurts where I wouldn't post for a couple months at a time. It's kind of like once you got back to your real life, I would still scroll, but I wasn't posting as much. And then I was like, man, I missed that. That was a lot of fun. And then I want to reconnect with some of the people that I haven't seen in a while. So then I would post a little bit more, but I'm kind of back and forth with it. I know our buddy Steve Bordeaux, he's in Michigan, and when this first started, he's like, one day I posted 23 times, and he would just post, God love Steve. He would even say the stupidest stuff. But he was just posting all the time. Whereas I was thinking, man, if I always post at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday night, that video is going to do good for me. But my consistency is non-existent with it.
What about you, Kelly?
Every social media platform will reward consistency. Every single one of them, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they will reward consistency. And it's not so much about how much you post, it's that you have to keep it consistent. Because like Jeff said, there's people who post 3 times every day. I get so sick of seeing them on my freaking For You page that their content is so watered down and not good because you can see they're just scrambling for content. So for me, it's always been quality over quantity. So I try to put out about 3 solid original videos every week. And I've done great doing that. So anyone who tells you that you have to post so many times a day is...
Do you do it on the same day at the same time, or is it just like I've got something?
So I used to, for the most part. Well, I got to know my audience. Yeah. So for example, if I am doing a video that I think that young kids are going to relate to, if I'm making fun of my son or something in high school, and I think that the high school kids are going to love it, I'm not going to post that until after 3 o'clock when they're out of school. But if I'm posting a video that like I think stay-at-home moms are going to gravitate towards, I'm going to post it like around 1 p.m., like nap time.
Yeah, when the house is empty.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about it like that. But to be honest, once you get to a certain level as a creator, everything just gets pushed out.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway, because a lot of people are like, okay, if you get them over the hump of just being willing to make content, then they have to start to determine, okay, when is a good time? Specifically, like in the white collar world, LinkedIn in particular, people are just kind of throwing it out there all the time. I'm like, why are you doing that? Because you're targeting a group of people that are telling you they are 9 to 5 workers. So if you're dropping this at 10 in the morning, well, they're still 32 emails into their day.
Do people make content on LinkedIn?
Yeah,
I have never joined LinkedIn. It's way too grown up for me.
It is percentage wise, it's doing better than TikTok.
Well, what are they doing? What are you guys making content about?
I think everybody is running away from all the other platforms, and LinkedIn is kind of a safe space for business.
I was people say adult stuff.
So what do you talk about like office supplies? Like I don't like.
Okay. So for example, I worked with a client one time that was in the legal world, and they came asking me questions as far as like, we need content. We need content. I'm like, well, first thing you do, don't let anybody know you're a lawyer, because nobody likes a lawyer, right? So we just came up with concepts to illustrate what were their hobbies. One of the lawyers loved fishing, so all we did was post pictures of him fishing.
No, yeah,
it's just like you create.
Yeah,
this thing.
See, LinkedIn's not for me. I am just authentic. If I'm a lawyer, you're gonna know I'm a lawyer.
No. But to the point where I was going with this is like, all those people that are in a 9 to 5 day job, when are they free and when are they scrolling? Saturday and Sunday morning when they're drinking their coffee and they're home between 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Post then, things like that. So I think it's just one of those things that, to a point, both of you seem to have, you zoom out every now and then, evaluate your,
Yep.
okay, what did I just make? Who do I think it's going to resonate with? When do I know that they're really active? But it's not really a black and white, law of the land, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about those breakpoints, the ability to monetize, because that's the other question you always get from individuals that feel like they want to be a content creator. They feel like, I want to be an influencer and I want to get paid and I want sponsorships and et cetera, et cetera. Talk about your own paths to realizing, holy shit, this is more than me just kind of growing a friend group.
Yeah.
There's potential to make money here. What was that number? Was it 50,000 followers? Was it 10,000 followers?
For me, it was 110. I am just now getting to that point because again, that takes some effort. And I've seen some people post and they don't have a lot of followers, but they'll tell you, this week I made $300. And I'm thinking for myself, if I made $300 a week off of something that I just
a
made
lot
a
of
little
beer.
bit, that's a lot of beer. That's a lot that I can do. I'm still a single dad. I've got 3 kids that are, milking me dry.
Yes.
I could do that. And we were just having this conversation. We've got another friend in Chicago, Kelly Clearhouse, and she said that she found this this, I don't even know what you girls call it, but it's like a onesie that you snap in the front like you're a little baby. What is that?
A bodysuit?
A bodysuit. And she said, I saw this bodysuit and
We should be making content right,
Right?
now, just
Yeah.
explaining to Jeff.
Yeah.
Let's mansplain
Yeah.
to Jeff.
a bodysuit. I haven't put one on. But she was like, I've got this mom pooch. So I angle the camera to where all the rolls are shown and just made myself look really overweight. I put this bodysuit on and then show like the after effect. She said, I made $30,000 in 1 month off that video just last month. The next month she made $20,000 and we're up there talking about this. And Kelly had already said, you need to get in on the money side of this. And I'm like, that's more effort than I'm really willing to put in. But when Clearhouse told me that, and she told, at the end of the day, she's like, look at this. I didn't do anything on TikTok today. I just made $642. I'm going to throw that over to my account because it's on a video that I made like 2 or 3 months ago. And then we were talking, I'm not a savvy guy. You guys have all the wires going everywhere. I don't know how this stuff works. She's like, just do it from your phone. So I am to that point now where I've got a couple things that I think not only do I use, but I could kind of sell to the, people that that follow me. So I'm to that point where I'm willing to consider it now.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff could absolutely be monetizing his platform, but like he says, he's got a full-time job that he loves. He's got 3 kids, and so he doesn't explore that side of monetizing it quite yet. I've been trying to get him to. I've been trying to get everybody to.
We talked numbers the other day, and I'm like, yeah, I'm missing out on something.
Oh,
Well, okay, so Kelly, for you, you were at 1,000, then you're at 10,000, then 50, 100, and now you're at 2.8. At what number did you take the leap and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to monetize and grow it from here? When did you have that conversation?
it was during COVID. It was the first year. I think I was probably at like 500,000 followers, and this water bottle company like messaged me and they're like, hey, we'll pay you $400 to hold our water bottle in one of your videos. And I'm like, what? I'm like, is this a scam? No, it wasn't a scam. They paid me.
It's not Temu.
No, and from then on out, it was like I started getting these little offers here and there, and I was always working stuff on my own. And being in content creation, it's like the wild, wild west. There's no manual. There's nobody to tell you how to do it. You have to figure it out on your own, and it sucks. I've had so many deals that have gone south, or that didn't work, or that they didn't pay me the way that I thought I would, should have gotten paid. And then finally, about 3 years ago, I got an agent, and they take care of all my brand deals. I don't have to read contracts. I don't have to do anything. They just present it to me and say, do you want to do this ad for Gold Bond, and here's what it's going to pay, and I say yes or no.
So in the world of music, basically, and there's different metrics, but for example, an independent artist needs to have just arbitrarily, let's say, 1 million followers on Spotify, and they have to have roughly 20 million downloads or streams, whatever, before you can say that or assume that touring agents, like a booking agent, kind of come knocking. Would you say that there's a number or a threshold before agents start to do outbound? Is it 100,000 followers? Is it 500,000? Or could it be 50,000 depending on who you are and what you're doing?
I don't think it's a specific number, and people don't care as much how many followers you have. They want to see what your videos are doing and who they're reaching. So some people would be like, I have 3 million followers and I don't have any brand deals. And it's like, well, yeah, because your last 10 videos got like 5,000 views. Who's going to pay you?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what you did 3 years ago. It matters what you're doing now. And, my company will screenshot analytics from ads I've done and said, here's what she did for this company and here's what she did for that company. And like Jeff said, TikTok Shop right now is just insane. It is just insane what it is paying people. And it's helping small businesses. And it's like this perfect combination. And I'm riding the wave while it's here because I know it's not going to be here forever because it's almost too good to be true.
Do you ever think about that? I'm going to ask one question, then we're going to take a quick break. Do you ever think about the potential of a MySpace effect? Here today, gone tomorrow. Obviously TikTok is going through current, iterations because this stuff does feel cyclical over time. But what makes TikTok different in your opinion? Well,
it's not just TikTok. I mean, last month, Facebook paid me more than TikTok. So I'm completely diversified across TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Those are the 3 contents that pay me regularly just for posting. And I just started doing YouTube. And so people would be like, TikTok could go away tomorrow and it would suck, but I'd be fine. I still make money. I sell merch.
You're diversified across the platform.
Because I do it for a living. So if you do it for a living, you have to take it seriously and you have to spread out, what you're doing.
I love that. When we come back, we're going to talk comedy, Kiss, and more. And again, that Jeff dance is on its way. So quick break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back.
Hang on. We're almost back.
No, all good.
Okay, now we're back.
All right. We're back. And before the break, we were talking about monetization and kind of that process. Look, at the end of the day, please do not listen to this and think, oh, I'm going to get an agent, tomorrow. That's not how this works. You got to do the work first. You got to get out there.
Content.
You got to make the content.
Yeah, like that's where you got to start. Is making videos
and throw it all out there.
Yep.
Like what you think is cool, the vast majority of people won't, and what you think is dumb, the vast majority of people will think it was probably cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's usually how it works.
Yeah, there are people out there that like the same thing you do, think the same thing.
So what I want to talk about is maybe some of the transition or the opportunities that have been presented you now as a career within content. I remember, was it last year? Kind of your relationship with promoting the Kiss tour.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Talk about that. How did that come about? I'm assuming your agent probably, because if you had an agent for that long, your agent probably was the one that, hey, Kelly, I got something for you to think about.
Yeah, so I do a lot of work for Live Nation, and so let's think about it like this. So 2 years ago, Kiss was going on their big farewell tour, right? Like their 10th farewell tour, and
at AARP Stadium near you.
And so Kiss has an advertising budget, right? And they've got we got so many thousands of dollars because I don't care how big you are, you have to tell people you're going on tour. You have to get the word out, or nobody's going to know. So when Kiss goes on tour, they plan a promotion and advertising package, and where in the past they used to create like a video, and if you're going to do a commercial, you got to hire video people and actors and editors and rent the space and all this stuff, and then you have to pay to get it on TV, and then you just have to hope that your audience happens to be watching that TV show at the same time your ad is on, so they buy tickets to your show. Why would they do that when they could come to me and say, this girl has got her arrow on the bullseye of our entire audience, and we're going to put all of our money in her? So Kiss has done it. Bon Jovi has done it. New Kids on the Block has done it. Pink has done it. Justin Timberlake has done it. They are putting all of their advertising money into content creators because nobody is looking for a Justin Timberlake tour commercial on TV anymore because it's a dying industry.
Yeah, people don't understand.
They want to see it on here.
Yeah, outside of sport, nobody's watching TV.
Yeah.
Like if it's not the NFL and the NFL and the NFL,
Absolutely. It's funny you say that because I'll turn my TV on at sport and then I'm on my phone. So I'm really watching this, and then
exactly.
I will watch sports, but my sports are on, but I'm on my phone.
Yep. Or when the commercials come on, you're doing something else. You fast forward through them. So
or you curse yourself for not paying the $8 extra
Yeah.
on Hulu. Like, why the fuck am I paying for this ad package?
Yeah.
no, so these bands like Kiss, whoever their marketing manager, it was just genius. So they gave me front row tickets to their show. They took me backstage. I got to taste Gene Simmons's blood. Okay, like there was like a cup of blood, and I'm like, "What does it taste like?" They're like, "You should try it." I got to try on like Paul Stanley's boots. I got to hang out with the whole band. We got to do like the sound recording. The not what's it called before the pre-show, like the sound check.
Sound check.
Wait a second. What do you mean you're tasting his blood?
You know how Gene Simmons like does that one guitar
Yeah.
song and he goes bleh, and all that blood comes out of his mouth
Red
during his
Kool-Aid?
show.
Oh, okay.
It's like a red syrup that they have backstage. And when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, is that the blood?" I'm like, "What does it taste like?"
Well, he's what, 68, so it's probably pomegranate juice.
It tasted like melted Ziploc bag. It did not taste good at all. But then you've got me, and I go on Instagram or on TikTok, and I'm like, "Oh my God, I got to go to the Kiss concert. It was so much fun." And I'm showing all these clips of the concert, and it's so much fun. And here's where you get your tickets. And
Now, just technically speaking, then, do you have a ticket link there? And is that how the Kiss and Live Nation, they track? And
Yep.
Do you know the numbers? Do you know how many people bought tickets from your...
my agent does, and sometimes I know. In general, I don't want to know those things. My agents know. Like, I don't want to know something unless I need to.
Yep.
But Live Nation continues to hire me, so clearly I'm doing something right. But that is also a big part of brand deals, is that your success is constantly right in front of you. If I do a video for a company and it tanks, it sucks, but it's part of the job.
And growing up in St. Louis in particular, as a K-She kid, I have to assume, what does it mean for you to be able to work with Bon Jovi and Kiss, and is it surreal?
It's
is a good question.
completely surreal. Like, I'm like, whose life is this? Like, I don't. And even when I did the Kiss deal, like you said, I was not exactly the hardcore Gen X, right? I was like a Debbie Gibson, New Kids on the Block Gen X, right?
I wasn't gonna I know the timeline,
But of course,
because I was a little young for Kiss. But
it's Kiss, and I mean, when they came out for sound check, I got emotional, and I don't get very emotional. I had tears in my eyes, thinking oh, I cannot believe that this is my life. I cannot believe I'm doing this.
So of all of these encounters, what's the one? You get to take one of these encounters to the desert island.
Yeah.
Which one are you taking with you?
It's when I got to meet Donnie Wahlberg from New Kids on the Block.
That would, that might be
I
it
almost
for me
drove.
too,
I almost drove off the road when I got that offer. I had to pull over and read it 3 times to make sure I was, reading what I thought I was reading, because that's bucket list stuff. New Kids on the Block. Oh my God! And to meet Donnie, and he hugged me and took pictures with me and
Did he know your page?
Yeah. Oh my God. They prep them usually ahead of time. Hey, these next people coming in are content creators. It's not like but his wife, Jenny McCarthy, she follows me. She loves all my content. That's the other weird ass thing about this life.
Yeah.
Is that really big stars know who you are and you don't realize it. Carrie Underwood, she's commented on my shit 10 times. And when I think about that, it freaks me out and I want to go crawl in a hole and be like, oh my God.
Oh my God, she saw my underwear.
Right. Well, speaking of underwear, Magic Mike, Channing Tatum or whatever, it was a year and a half ago, he reposted one of my Instagrams and he wrote on there, "This is the funniest woman on the internet." And I'm like, holy shit, you are Magic Mike. Why are you watching my dumbass shit? It's so dumb. Why are you watching this?
You're immediately want to duet?
Well, exactly. And that is how Jeff brought up Vanilla Ice. Yeah. I did a video one time telling people they were doing the Vanilla Ice dance all wrong, and it blew up. And of course, somebody in Vanilla Ice's posse saw it and was like, "Yo, Nilla, check this out." And then he made a video back to me inviting me to come to his show. His schedule was wonky, mine was wonky, and I don't like to fly. So like Jeff said, I rented a 32-foot RV with zero experience. We took that son of a bitch. We had it on the back roads of Kentucky. Yeah. We had it at McDonald's, and we had it up in the Poconos Mountains.
I love that.
And we got to go on stage with Vanilla Ice and dance and be silly. And It's just crazy the opportunities that have come.
So let me ask you guys both a question, because earlier you were talking about how your inbox gets filled with comments, Jeff, that maybe were less than popular with your with your peers.
Yeah.
You just mentioned, Carrie Underwood and Channing and everybody kind of popping into replies and comments and likes, etc. Talk about your process of replying to comments, because the comment world can be a slippery slope. One, do you reply to comments at all? And two, if you do, what type of comments do you engage with? And what's your strategy behind giving fans or, likes or followers a little bit of something back when they engage you?
I wish I could talk more to just the regular people that comment on mine. And I do have a lot of people that are, kind of regulars. And you try to, but it's also like, I've got to take my kid to baseball. I can't go through all of this stuff because, the videos that do really well, you get tons and tons of comments. I rarely get hate from people, but when I do, it's from dads. So when I do those Good Morning Honey videos, they get some hate from dads. I did one where I was talking about the relationship that I have with my ex-wife, Jamie, who's a Granite girl. She would hate that I mentioned her name on social media. She's not a social media person, but
she'll shank you though.
Yeah, she probably would. Don't tell her, but she still gets, the policy on me. So I don't want her to take you up on that offer. But she and I have a great relationship in parenting, and I made a video about that. The amount of men that were just so ticked off that I still got along well with my ex-wife, it's mind-boggling that you can't just scroll through that. And
you sold out.
Yep. Yeah, and that's exactly what they said. It's like, you're a simp. She's got you under control still, and that's your ex-wife. So, I
Road Dog 1212, that was me, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
You're a simp.
You're that guy.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Kelly?
So I've gotten to a place where engagement is very important. If you want to grow on the app, you have to engage with your audience. You have to respond to comments. You have to write back to some messages. I have an assistant that helps me with that. So she goes through all of my messages. She will respond, just little quick things, but she'll also put in front of me something that's important. If it's a heartfelt message, if it's something she thinks I want to read, then she'll make sure she gets those to me so that I can respond to those people personally. She responds like the more generic ones and stuff like that. I don't respond to haters because what a stranger on the what a stranger thinks of me like on the internet does not move my give a shit meter at all.
Do you have a give a shit meter?
No, not really. And I wish I could share that with the whole world because it's how I've always been. Jeff's known me my whole life. I've never given a flying fuck if you don't like me. I'll move on. I'll go do something else. It's not, it's not a competition. It's not it's not a beauty pageant. I don't need everybody to vote for me. Whoa, what did I do?
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Engagement's very, very important. But, and once you get to a certain level, you get help with it. There's no reason. A lot of people reply to haters as bait. It's almost like victim baiting. It's like they'll repost a comment somebody mean said and be like, oh, why did this person say it? And it's just so that everybody comes in their comments and wipes their ass and goes, oh, you're not like that. No, I got way too much good content to waste my airspace on that bullshit.
It's so funny. I mean, because there is a strategy behind that. I mean, if you can suck in.
Rage baiting is a big thing.
Then you've got another video that takes off and people click on that. Yeah. It takes them to the
Facebook.
First video,
Facebook is filled right now with people making money off of posting ridiculous headlines.
Yeah.
Ridiculous headlines. Like word on the street is Taylor Swift is going to perform at halftime with Kendrick Lamar at the Super Bowl. No, she's not. But these companies or these people, it's a lot of people, they make these rage bait Facebook pages.
Totally.
And all these stupid ass people think it's real. And they're paying these people a shit ton of money.
Yeah, no. I mean, we as a society, we are reaping what we have asked for. We're no more fact checkers. Yeah. You can say whatever the fuck you want anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it. I understand fundamentally why that's kind of okay. But at the end of the day, to your point, now nobody really knows what's real.
Yes.
So therefore, the world of entertainment is kind of like the last bastion of, well, while I'm not going to learn anything from Kelly's video, at least I know I'm not being lied to.
Yes. And TikTok has always been kind of like the truth seekers, right?
Yeah.
Where on Facebook, people believe anything you put out there. And on TikTok, you know, like the other day, there was a story on Facebook about this water tower being knocked down, and it fell in this lady's front yard, and it like almost hit her house, and it was a planned demolition. But everybody in the comments were like, "Oh my God, I wonder what it'd be like to live in that house, or what happened." Well, go on TikTok. The lady is shooting from inside her house, telling you everything that happened.
Yep.
So you can always get the real information on TikTok most of the time.
Let's talk a little bit about the other plus one changes in your world in particular. You've made the content. You know, we talked about KISS earlier. You have an agent. But now I notice that you're delving into the world of live comedy.
Yeah.
A, why? B, is it something that you always wanted to do?
Why? It makes good money. It also, I've always known that I would be good at it. Like I've always known that was something I could do when I wanted to, and it had been offered to me a lot, but my kids were young.
Yep.
My kids were young, and at the time I was married to somebody who traveled all the time. So it would never work in that schedule. And so I got together with some other content creators. We were planning a trip to Nashville just to hang out, and someone's like, "Hey, what if we did a stand-up show?" And I was like, "You guys are crazy. Who's going to come see that?" And it only held like 100 people. And we like sold it out immediately. And then we did a second show, and then like a third show. And then pretty soon you blink and we're on this tour. And I mean, we're sponsored by AARP. We've got these big sponsors, and you know, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
So, is it scary? You know, because obviously you have a sense of humor. You are self-deprecating. We talked about it. I mean, that's kind of the core of your video for all these years. But it's a lot different to be standing on a stage in front of a room of 50, 100, 200 people and exposing yourself versus in front of your cell phone and then going back and editing it and making it, quote, perfect.
It's very scary. And so what I did was I prepared. Like I sat and wrote my stand-up, and I practiced it in my closet. Like, and I timed it, and I recorded myself, and I would go through my show over and over as if it were the real thing. And if I messed up, I had to keep going. And so yeah, it's super scary, but a lot of fun shit is going to be scary. So just do it scared. Like my first show, I was terrified, and now it's much easier. And we are also in this weird bubble where we are so lucky that our audience is already people who know us.
Yeah.
To where most stand-up comics have to play to empty room.
Yeah, you're not new. You're not grinding.
No, well, I grinded. I just grinded on the internet, not on a stage. It's different. It's a different kind of grind. And, you know, I'm sure there's going to be a time where I'm sure the stand-up comedians are going to start coming after us because we're content creators that, well, no, I did build an audience. I did it online, and now it's translating in person. And I mean, stay mad.
Well, you know, I see it as kind of parallel to quote news outlets and the role that podcasts have taken over the past 5 years. Really, you know, you go back in time. It's one of those things. Podcasts didn't exist. There was Mark Maron. There was Armchair with Dax, and Rogan was early in on it too. But then that's it. Now everybody does, right? To that point, TikTokers are kind of new household names, you know? So the potential competition between you and comics, I think comics today, they know. They all have their own TikTok page.
Yeah.
They're just not doing as well as yours.
Exactly.
So so let me ask you a question then, from a comic standpoint. Have you met her yet? And do you know that Nikki Glazer is here in the Lou?
Yep.
She moved. Have you guys hooked up yet?
No, I've never met her. I've never met her. I think she's hilarious. She's obviously doing big things, but I don't have any reason to meet her or know her. She's obviously way more famous than I am. So I would love to meet her, but it's not, you know.
Yeah. I see there's similarities.
Really?
You know, in her comedy, in her approach. I mean, the roasting, right? You guys all saw the roast.
Yes, that was amazing.
Fantastic job.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm just curious there. Jeff, you're at 110. You know, we were talking earlier about, you know, what your business manager at the other end of the table here is telling you better start monetizing this. Where do you see social media, TikTok in particular, in your world? 3 months, 6 months, a year? You know, is it something that you feel like, you know what, I'm going to get into the gym and I'm going to make this thing work?
I schedule my life like no more than 2 days out.
Yep.
So like for me, it's just 2 days out. And I tell you what, 5 years ago, I didn't think I was going to be doing it at all. And I never would have guessed that I would be doing it like I am now after going back to work. And for a time I wasn't, but then it's kind of the relationships that you build and with people from all over the country that kind of keep me coming back to it. So I'll do it. If I can monetize a little bit, that'd be awesome. Especially when you
kids
hear,
college. So,
yeah.
Like
if I could pay for their books each semester, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, right.
But for me, it's not, it's not a moneymaker. It's not a job like it is for her. So as long as it's around and I'm kind of in the mood, and I'll float in and out of it, but that's about as serious as I take it.
Kelly, question to you: 2.8 million. You're monetized. You're traveling. You're hanging out with Donnie Wahlberg and doing all this crazy shit. You've succeeded. What do you view as success moving forward?
Gosh, I don't know, other than I've always evolved with the platforms. So when TikTok started and kids were doing stupid dances, I was doing stupid dances. And then when they said, well, we're going to monetize, but you got to be over a minute. And everybody was like, I don't want to be over a minute. I did it. And I was over a minute. And then when TikTok Shop started and everybody's like, TikTok Shop sucks. I did it. I evolved with the platform and especially at our age, that's hard to do.
Oh my God.
So I will continue to hopefully be successful by evolving with whatever's coming next. So
what do you want to come next?
I just want to keep making people laugh.
Spin-off show.
Yeah. Netflix special.
I was going to say, you want to have a smash between Nikki and Chappelle?
Yeah, that'd be nice. But no, honestly, I'm just thrilled to death that this is what I do for a living and that I'm able to pay my mortgage and make people laugh. And when I go to do the stand-up shows, there's people that just come up to me and they're like, and I feel this way about other people. There's people on the internet that I watched and they helped me through a dark time. And I feel like I know them. And so when somebody comes up to me and they're like, Kelly, I went through this horrible divorce. I haven't left the house in 6 months, but I came out today because I wanted to meet you and tell you how much you made me smile during a hard time. I feel that in my heart. And that's like a reward. That's the dopamine hit. It's not that people liked my video. It's that people are like, you got me through this really hard time. And if I can somehow keep doing that, I'll be doing this forever.
I do recall a time we were like 16, and I don't even know where the conversation came from, but you had said, I don't know what I'm going to do in life, but I know I'm going to be famous. I was like,
literally.
Okay, but I kind of feel like you have to know what you're going to do in order for that to
infamously famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we are. So
yeah.
And that's just kind of shows you how like engaged some people are with TikTok. For myself, when I think about the friends that, I can think of somebody in California, somebody in New Jersey, all over the place. I was actually at a pool party at the Cosmo in Vegas. And as soon as we sat down,
boy, that's a name drop,
right? I am. That's my claim to fame. But the better term for the attendant, I guess, came over and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you Hazer220?" And I thought my friends were setting me up. Yeah. So I'm looking around at them, and they looked at me, and they were kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying they were mad, but they're like, what's this guy doing? There were a couple ladies that were sitting VIP that recognized me from videos and called us over and had a good time. So, it's just, it reaches further than you would have ever imagined. So,
yeah, like I can't even go to the grocery store without, and our thing is weird because it's like everyone knows my face. And a lot of them do know me and how they know me, but it's just people staring at me all the time. Like, how do I know that girl?
Yeah,
and it's like, sorry, I've been on your freaking like Facebook and Instagram a million times. And I went on a date with a guy like a year ago, and when we started talking about what I did for a living, and I said, well, that's really silly, but I do TikTok. And he's like, hang on a minute. And he gets out his phone and he's like, I have a saved video of yours from 2 years ago on my phone. He's like, I thought you looked familiar, but they don't always put it together.
Yeah.
So it's just, it's weird. You get recognized, you don't get recognized. You know, some people know everything about you and other people are like, how do I know you?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a long story.
Yeah, I'm doing it all wrong. I just keep putting soccer dad pod stickers in porta potties at soccer tournaments.
Yeah, you might want to rethink that plan.
It's that, some people have sent me selfies from inside the porta potty of, have you been here? Nah, I got an army of kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Guys, this has been a lot of fun, man. I mean, it's just so interesting because everybody thinks they know, and then those that are in the know still don't really know, and because it's just evolving so fast.
Yeah.
And I think the moral of the story, if we have anything to take away here, just do it. Just do it. Be consistent. Put it out there.
Authenticity and consistency will take you so far.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, Kelly, what's the handles, Kelly? Oh, I'm going to have them in the copy. But
Sure. No, I'm just at Kelly Manno because, again, had I known I would
You
have
weren't
millions
thinking.
of followers, I wouldn't have used my whole name. But also, the stand-up tour is at genxtakeover.com. So if people want to see me in person, that's where they go. But I'm just at Kelly Manno.
what's your walk-up tune?
It is Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, the next episode. La, da, 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 da.
Fitting.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Fitting.
Love it.
Yeah. Although I think I'm going to change it for St. Louis because we're going to do a St. Louis show. I think I'm going to walk out to Nelly. I think I have to.
I'm going down.
Baby,
yeah.
yo, street.
You can find me in St. Louis.
Yeah, you can find me in St. Louis.
There you go. All right, Jeff, go ahead and hop up, do a little spin, something, man. You got just a little bit of a... There you go, people. Oh, there it is.
A
Oh.
little twerking is all I have to do to get on.
Your daughters are crying in the hole right now.
They are.
All right.
Who cares?
I'm going to get you guys out of here. You got lives to
Thanks,
live.
buddy.
Thank
GC
you.
proud.
GC.
See.
Thanks for listening, people. Like, review, follow, share. Catch you next time. I'm out.